Hi everyone, my name is Kim Raccoons, and today I'm going to talk with everyone about nearshoring, nearshoring, offshoring, and outsourcing. And the reason I chose this topic is because it's near and dear to my heart. I worked in the field of international trade regulatory compliance for almost 40 years, and in that capacity, I was considered a subject matter expert in that I enforced, regulated, and administered a variety of international trade laws for commercial goods imported or exported out of the United States. So without further ado, let's get started. So our objectives today are pretty straightforward. We're going to talk about what nearsourcing is and explain the shift from those traditional outsourcing activities. And I think we all know what outsourcing means. It means that an entity located generally in the United States, or it could be another country, has moved that manufacturing center from where they are currently to foreign soil. We're also going to outline those near-sourcing benefits for American companies, as well as identify the long-term implications to the global supply chain. So what is that term near-sourcing? It's really an idea that manufacturing centers are beginning to become very, very solid within countries that are contiguous to countries. And what I mean by that is our borders touch. We regionalize U.S. manufacturing or U.S. services with our partners, let's say, utilizing NAFTA in Canada or Mexico. Today in America, employment, as we know, has its challenges. Of course, we're all sitting here in Colorado, so we don't have that issue as much. But nationally, the number of unemployed workers is about 15 million. Consumer spending has, in fact, taken some dives. Many of us are coming out of consumer crunches, but most importantly, think about what you're paying at the pump these days. Those fuel prices have doubled since 2006, which also affects the transiting of international freight. So, what is the impact of globalization? Well, globalization first is that idea that the whole world is a global market. I have to tell you, my experiences indicate there's not a lot of difference between a consumer in Japan, Western Europe, or the United States. Maybe a little bit of color change or taste or localization, but for the most part, everyone wants the same thing: quality, cost, and availability. We also have seen the rise of new regional trade agreements, meaning these are formal agreements between one or more countries that agree to trade exclusively. For example, under the Obama administration, we saw the signing of the Colombian Free Trade Act. We also, prior to his administration, saw CAFTA, which is the Caribbean Basin Free Trade Act, and something called FTAA, which is basically pushing NAFTA to Brazil. What are some of those benefits? Well, when you live close to another country, you have a lot of affinity, not only culturally, but language. I got to tell you, there's not a lot of difference between a wheat farmer in Minnesota and a wheat farmer in Canada. They all wear ball caps. They all can talk wheat, and there's not that much difference. Same time zone. Generally, more of a prevailing or a consistent wage rate, increased quality, as well as a surplus of workers, because as you extend across borders, you have more people to employ. So what are some of the benefits to you and me? Well, think of it really simply. As we sell more offshore, meaning outside of the U.S., more money comes into the U.S. economy, and that's a win-win for everybody. In addition to that, we create more jobs because we now create third-party logistics suppliers in that supply chain. And when I say supply chain, I'm talking about the movement of goods or services from the foreign point of origin to your hand and mine. And finally, the increases in the rail and the intermodal, meaning that drayage, how the goods transfer between consignment to consignor to delivery, because it's just not putting them on the rail. It has to be structured and planned. So how does it work? It's marriage and orchestration. A lot of synergy across product development, merchandising, partnering with each step in the supply chain, meaning consistency in your raw materials, your testing standards, your technology, your financial services, your compliance, your logistics, and also your government oversight. So that's my presentation today. I'm going to pause a minute for any questions. I'm not hearing any, so thank you so much, and I hope that we continue to have dialogue as the globalization of the U.S. market continues. Thank you so much. Bye now.